better tell you what I've done. To start with, I got a standard canvas, and then I've covered it with black gesso, which is a primer, an acrylic based primer, and it's a flat black acrylic based, and I've just covered that, and then I've covered it with a tiny bit of liquid clear, and that liquid clear is our medium, and it makes the canvas a little bit slicker, makes it wet, it creates, we can create effects a lot easier, which I'll show you. Right, now usually I'd put colour on first, but I've waited this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the canvas with some transparent colour, or semi-transparent colour. I did get in an argument once with another artist who said Indian yellow, because I was saying which ones are transparent, but they said Indian yellow, it's not transparent, it's semi-transparent. I was like, okay. It's a semi-transparent colour, but it's transparent enough for this technique. So all I'm doing is I'm just throwing on a tiny bit of phthalo blue, and I'm just using crisscross strokes. This is all. I tend to use this for everything almost when I'm putting paint on. This crisscross. It's good for blending and applying colour. So I just tap on. So I'm going to do like a waterfall, a few trees. Let's see what happens. Yeah, straight out the tube onto the palette. Yeah. So all I do when I'm applying the colour, I just pull a tiny bit out like that and just tap it. That way you sort of avoid any streaks or anything like that, and you get like an even distribution. And you can blend over it. Any hairs? Oh, there's a hair embedded in the gesso. I'll have to leave that one. That'll add character. Yeah. And then here and there, I'll pick up a little bit of sap green, and I'm just going to use the corner, and I'll just put in a little bit of that here and there, just a tiny bit. Maybe I'll even put a bit of crimson in. Let's do a alright. I'm just going to dot a little bit of crimson in here and there as well, and then just using up and down strokes, I'm just going to blend that in. So there we go. That's the beginning, and if you was painting to crowds and stuff, it's a good idea to do this previously. Like my last demo in Rudux, I just put all the colour on and I didn't say anything, and I just got my white like this. I was like, right, I'm just going to get some titanium white, and we'll just dance in some white areas. And everyone was looking like, what's going on? How's all these colours happening with just white? So I'm just going for it. It's very free. And I could see the manager's face when I was doing this. I was like, oh, what have we got ourselves in for here? It's not going to work. And just go with it wherever you want your colour to be. That's where it should be. And here and there it just picks up this green, and there's a bit of crimson in somewhere, and it just picks it up. And this eventually, if all goes to plan, this will look like light in the background. There we go, maybe a little bit more there. Whatever you want, just twist and turn. This is a very fun way of doing it. Very easy. So there's the lazy man's way of painting. Right. And then I'll just pick up my brush. I'm just wiping most of the paint off. There's a bit there, but it won't matter. And all I do is just go up and down, up and down. I really want that hair off. It's not coming. You just go up and down, and again, it's like picking up even more colour, and you can keep going over this until it really almost blends away. And then you could step back and say, oh, well, this side's a little bit brighter than that side. Maybe I'll put a little bit more white in. Maybe we'll have a bit more in there, wherever you want. and then you reblend it up and down, and then that'll sort of just go in with it. That'll do for our beginning bit. Right, now I'm going to go into some Midnight Black. I'm just going to go straight into the Midnight Black, load the fan brush both sides so you get a nice sharp edge to it. Just check, make sure that's on. Yeah, it's on. Right, and all I'm doing is just touching and pulling down, and we'll put an indication of some little trees. Little trees, and you want to give your trees character. If you want, give them a little wiggle. You don't want all your trees to end up like future telephone poles. We want all kinds of them. Maybe there's 2 in this area. Maybe there's 2, and because I put the liquid clear on before, like gives us enables us to have it slide in like this, slide down. And when you're creating your painting, just think about where you want your trees to live, and then that's the right place for them to be. And it's a good idea, I find, when doing paintings, is to create stories, and in your mind, like, just be creative, and then your painting will come out matching the story that you've been thinking of. Right, let's just going to dip into a little bit of liquid clear, and I'm going to go into some black on the liner brush. I twist as I load it. Well, when you use liquid clear as your thinner, you could either use paint thinner or all the others. Liquid clear gives it a shine, so if you're doing it all on a black canvas, it almost looks like it's been glazed. There we go, we'll just put in a few branches here and there, twisting as you load, wherever you want branches. I tend to do my branches coming down mostly, because when I was studying bonsai a long time ago, until I realised how long it took to develop your own nice tree, 20 years, I kind of went off it. But all their trees, they tend to have branches that hang down because that makes them look older. So I kind of brought that in. Not always though, sometimes maybe there's one going up. Break the rules. And you sort of bring branches over as well, like, that went a bit big. Oh, we'll cover that one up. And you just go with it. It's just an indication, this is just the background. So when you're painting at home, then you can spend ages just putting in all these little details. And wherever you want them, just put in a few more on this side, here and there. Maybe there's some there. That'll do. Right, now I'll go back into my black, and then where I think there should be a bit of foliage, I'll just use the corner of the fan brush and I'll just sort of tap the corner. And this is, again, it's distant, it's quiet, and if you do like almost like points, you get the effect of it sort of coming out. Maybe there's a bit there as well. Wherever you want your little bits of foliage, just put them in. Put them in. There's a bit there. Maybe there. Maybe there's a bit down there as well. Bit on there. Right, that'll do. Let's put some grass in there. Right, I'm just going to go into some sap green, and I've got a few different yellows here. I've got Indian yellow, cad yellow, yellow ochre. I'm just going to mix them all on the brush, get all different colours, get some more of the sap green, and I touch and then just push up. You get a little ridge. Ooh, got a green finger now. You get a little ridge of paint on your brush, and the same as on the palette. Whoop. Right, now you've got to think which way your land's going to flow, and then thinking it comes down there, and you just tap. Just tap, and then you can change the flavour of the colour if you want. You can go into a bit of black if it's too bright, or maybe if you want it brighter, you can go into a tiny bit of white. It's totally up to you. Or you could even do this painting with like snow on the ground. You could just use a bit of white or maybe a touch of crimson. All I like to do in my classes and doing these demos is just to show the technique, show what you can do, and then when you're at home, do what you want. Create your own paintings. Create ways to do things as well. You'll find you'll start inventing ways that works for you, and if it works, that's good. So I'm always thinking, lay of the land, lay of the land. Just tapping, and you can keep tapping, and this will be as really soft and smooth. Where we have the grass, maybe it sort of goes there. This is on the perfectionist side. This tree isn't quite long enough, so I'm just going to go in and do that. When you're painting at home again, you've got unlimited time almost. You can go in and put in all these details and have fun with it. Right, let's get this water coming down. I said I was doing a waterfall. I'm going to go into touch, tiny bit of liquid clear, and then I'm going to go into my white, and that makes the paint thinner and it will slide easier. I'll get a touch of blue as well. Tiny touch of phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is super strong, really strong. Right, so we've got our water. I see it coming round there, and then it starts here and just goes blip, blip, and then just sort of touch, and then maybe it flows down there. Maybe there's another little there. It comes along there. Maybe it stops there. Maybe this is where it really starts moving. But I'll give myself a bit of time until I get to that bit. There we go. And you can put in little actions, little push-ups, and maybe it's hitting a rock there, or whatever you want. Right, back with my fan brush. Instead of the black, I'm going to go into some Van Dyke brown. Maybe a touch of dark sienna as well. Mostly Van Dyke brown. And where do I want my first tree? We'll have it maybe there. Maybe there. I'll have a tree there, yeah. Well, it's definitely there now. There's no going back, it's there. And maybe there's another one. A bit closer. Maybe there's one there as well. This tree's stronger. It's closer as well, so it's a bit bigger. There we go. And then using maybe I'll use the detail knife. I picked it up first. It's good enough. What you find is when you're using knives, once you get used to how to load it, which is, I'll show you, you pull the paint out flat, and then you cut across a little roll of paint on the knife. But once you get used to using the knives, the landscape knife and the detail knife, all I'm doing is sort of touching and letting the paint come off. Just touching. You get so used to it, you can do things with either. I've been doing mountains with just the detail knife, and you can get some really nice effects. I did a painting recently. It was a commission for a charity. Well, it's not really a commission because I didn't get any money for it, but it was it was requested by a charity, and I did the whole mountain with just the knife, and I took it there, and I was amazed. I was like, wow, all the detail you put in there. I was like, yeah, it took me ages and ages. Absolutely, I was working on it for hours and hours. I was like, wow. I didn't tell him it took me 45 minutes. It took a lot longer. But that's speed. Speed comes with practice. Some people, when they come to my classes and they see me throwing up mountains and things, and they think that when they go, so you do like a bit and then come back, and they think, oh, we must do it that speed. I was like, no, go slow, enjoy it. Take time. It's good to spend a long time on a painting as well. I like to take my time and sort of get lost in your own world that you create. A bit more. I might transfer for the big knife. This takes ages. Okay, so all I'm doing is touching, letting the paint just pull off. The canvas just takes what it wants and gives you back what's left. It's just like the taxman does, except there's never anything left. Right, there we go. And then on the other side, I'm just going to grab some blue, maybe a little bit of the both of the blues. A little bit of blue, tiny bit of white, and we'll make like a reflective light area. And excuse my arm, it's going down. Same idea. I'm just touching and letting the paint just pull off. Bloop, bloop, bloop. But when you're painting trees, it's a good idea to have a look in the forest and have a look at what other trees look like, and then any tree that you like, you can put that into your painting, and you can start creating your own worlds. Once you've learned a technique of painting, and that's it. Right, let's start putting some branches on these. Dipping into a little bit more liquid clear, as I said, makes the paint a bit thinner, makes it slide easier and it sticks. So I'm twisting the bristles, and what I tend to do with these trees, I put the branches on and then I'll put the foliage on and my branches are gone. So then I end up having to draw the branches back in again. I don't know why that is. Maybe we'll have some of these stuck up like that. And want an area for them to hold the foliage that we're going to put on. There we go. Right, now then, let's do it with a fan brush. Sometimes I'd do this with a round brush, which I've got, or the fan brush, or the 1-inch brush. Doesn't really matter. Once you're another thing, once you get used to the technique, any brush does anything. You can do anything with all of the brushes. Right, so same sort of idea, corner of the brush, and just wherever you want your foliage to live, you just tap it in. Maybe there's a hangy down one there. It hangs down there. So I'm just using a little bit of Prussian blue, a little bit of black, a little bit of sap green, a little bit of crimson, a little bit of everything. It doesn't matter. We just want our dark so our light will show. And maybe there's some there. There. Bit in there. So you just go with it. Wherever it feels like there should be a bit of foliage, you just put it in. There we go. Right, I'm going to go into my other brush. I'm going to go into some cad yellow, bit of the green, bit of the yellow ochre maybe. Just mix it all on the brush. And then you've got to think about where the highlights are. And if it doesn't stick, which that didn't really, dip into the liquid white, make your paint a bit thinner, and then there'll be no problems. There we go. There we go. Sticks nice now. Here and there, just put some highlights just to bring it out. Create some separators. Maybe this tree's got a bit greener ones. There we go. And again, you can make this as bright as you want, or you can make it very subdued and dark. There we go. Right, let's carry on with the grassy area. Let's just clean up the foots of the trees. There we go. That's nice. And then maybe let's bring this grass down a little bit. Because there's water there, water is lazy like me, and always goes in like a recessed area. So using the angle of the brush, just create the grass coming down. It's amazing what you can do with just creating angles. And here and there you can even throw in a little bit of bright red. Don't know if you can see that, I'll make that a bit more obvious. Just to change the flavour here and there, you can just touch those in and it just makes it look a little bit different. Let's put another big tree in. Let's put in a big tree, giant tree. Right there, right there. It sort of hangs out there. I'm going to go into a bit more black, make this a bit darker, a bit of the dark sienna, Van Dyke brown, and you just pull it down. And when you're putting in these big trees, if there's an area you really like, then you can always avoid it. move your big tree a little bit further on or this way. Well, a lot of people I find in my classes, they avoid the big trees. They're like, I don't want to do that. I've got a really nice bit here, I don't want a big tree. It's like, well, don't put it in. If you don't want a big tree, don't put one in. It's up to you. I just want to show you how to do a tree, and then if you don't want one, then don't have one. Right, now I'm going to use the big knife. It's quite big tree, big knife. I'm going to get a little bit of bright red now. Throw that in with my colour. A bit more of the white. And have it sort of marbly like that. And then a little roll of paint. And then again, just touch. Just touching and just letting the paint just pull off. And then when this dries, it'll look and feel like real bark. That's the beauty of oil paints, I find, is the way you can put it on really thick and you can get really nice 3D almost effects. When I was doing my training, actually, as one of the international teachers was saying, one of Bob Ross's paintings, there was a really nice shadow on it. And I was like, how did he do that? That's amazing, the way that shadow is. And I looked closer, it was a real shadow because the amount of paint that he put on. So his paintings were alive because just loads of paint, and you don't realise how much you use. But that was a fantastic effect. There we go, let's keep tapping it up all the way. And then you tap at the edge and work around and it gets sort of darker towards the middle. That'll give that rounded feel. And same on the other side. Put in some shadow colour, blues, some white, cut across, little roll of paint again, touch. I mean, sometimes it's interesting to do your shadows more of your cool areas, more of a purpley colour, or you could just leave them dark. Again, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. There we go. And we'll put in some nice little branches again. Bloop. Bit of the brown twist. I might get a bit more dark sienna in with that. Twist on the liner brush. Where do I want my branches? There's one. And give them a little wiggle as well. Maybe there's a hanging down one there. There's one there. Whoa, he goes up now. Maybe. Yeah. And another one. Let's put one in there. And you have a look at when you paint it at home. You just look at your tree and take a step back and go, yeah, that's where I want my branches to be. It's always a good idea to take a step back because you get to see the whole paint, and it always looks a little bit different when you're a few spaces away. I'm just going to tap corner of the brush, put in some foliage here and there. Love that. Maybe that comes up there. There we go. Bit there. And this bit, maybe that sort of hangs, maybe that hangs that there. There we go. And then into our bright. I might make these highlights a bit brighter. Maybe there's more light here, maybe, because the sun's here. It's catching it. So I'll make it brighter, make it really stand out. Touch of bright red as well, just to change it a little bit. And again, front of the brush, here and there. Get a bit more yellow, maybe a bit of yellow ochre. But leave dark areas, leave dark. And that gives you a lot more depth and distance in your trees. Leave the darker areas. Right, let's put a rock in there. Let's be brave. Rocks are good. I'll use a bit of black, a tiny bit of blue. I'm going to make a blackish, a blackish blue rock. Maybe there's one there. Maybe he lives there. Touch of white. Just make that a little bit, and then lightly. I'll do. There's a rock. Give that a brush of white. Picked up some of that. Right, bit of the liquid clear again. Tiny bit. Rinse some of the white. Move that over here. I've got the biggest palette in town, and I still run out of room. When I first started, actually, it's a true story, I used to have 2 palettes. I got so messy. I'd have one palette going, I'd have another palette going. Right, gone into a little bit of blue, little phthalo blue, white, and as you know, this has been thinned with the liquid clear. So we've got the water, it's coming down here, and then sort of just falls. And if you don't do those noises, those little doesn't work. And this one comes this side. I've tried it without. And then at the base, there's a few ways of doing foam at the base, but there's this one where you just push up.
What noise do you do for foam?
So it sort of changes. A lot of the time I go. Sometimes if it's a big waterfall, I'll be like. When I'm doing seascapes, there's a lot of going on, and then a few straight lines. Maybe the water's coming off here. It's sort of flowing down there. Maybe there's a bit of a bob here and there. You could do all sorts. You could have like more waterfalls. You could keep it going. I'll just have it sort of stop in there. Right, we need to close this in. We don't want the water coming over the edges. We just want it to fall in that area. So a little bit of the grass, and just tap it. And you can even bring this across. You can even close it in. Just tapping. Just tapping. Maybe that sort of falls in there. And then this bit's in front. There we go. And then this side, maybe this bit, it just goes down. Maybe it just goes down like that. Again, that's another thing up to you. What way you want your land to flow. Bit of yellow ochre maybe, just to change it. And then you can even go back and go, oh, I wanted a rock there, and go pick up your little bit of blue and black colour and go and just put it in. Maybe you wanted a little rock there, a little bit of highlight, and then just put a little bit of your highlight on there. And then you can bring your grass in, and you can do that wherever you want, little rocks, and you could even put in like. Oh, that's gone a bit green. I'll just use this side. Oh, a bit too green. Forget that. And you could do that, and And you could add little sticks and twigs. You could add little grassy areas, and you add some. I'll use a bit of the paint thinner. You can either use liquid clear or the paint thinner. You can go into maybe some tiny bit of brown or a bit of green in it, and you can put in some little grassy areas. Just add loads of little detail. If you can't see that, I'll just put a bit of white on so you can see. You can go in and put all kinds of things in there. But this is a demonstration. I don't want to keep you for hours and hours, so I'll get a little bit of red on my brush, my liner brush, and I'll just spin it, and I'll put a little initial JB. There you go. Thanks very much for. Thank you.